Science leads to God.
We are a collective group formed by professionals from various fields of work and culture. Our training, both academic and professional, in areas such as, but not limited to the following: biology, neuroscience, teaching, medicine, programming, design, restoration, construction, computing, business, nutrition, chemistry, arts and crafts, and social work. Some of us are graduates and postgraduates. A few of us have master's degree, and others are undergraduate students, and other students are still pursuing their college studies. We speak different languages. We started with 3 languages. Nowadays we have 11 languages, which are as follows: Catalan, Chinese, English, Finnish, French, Greek, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. We are currently based in 12 countries: Argentina, Brazil, Finland, France, Greece, Italy, Japan, Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and United States. What brings us together is our common interest with this organization concept, that is, science leads to God. These are the 2 starting points. 1. If there is an intelligence that created life, the scientific study of life has to show us that this intelligence exists. 2. Similarly, if there is no intelligence that created life, the scientific study must also show us that God doesn't exist, because there aren't any more options. Either life originated on its own through natural forces, or it was designed by an intelligence. George Wald, a Nobel laureate in medicine, being a Darwinist, stated in 1967.
When we are talking about the issue of the origin of life, there are only 2 possibilities. One is that life began from the spontaneous generation that leads to evolution. The other possibility is that supernatural creativity is God. There is no third possibility.
According to the reputable Nobel Prize winner George Wald, he opted for the first hypothesis because he did not believe in God. Some of us have always believed in God. Others of us don't have a concrete opinion about it and had never put much thought into the subject. Others simply don't believe. There are also those who participate in this project and are still hesitant. They require more proof. Articles from many scientists have shown us that the spontaneous generation that leads to evolution is unworkable. There are many evidence. Therefore, rigorous study of life seems to lead to the necessary existence of a very intelligent, life-forming being. This is our view, and we want to share our work with you. We are not connected to any religious scientific organizations. We are a non-profit organization, and all of our contribution and participation within this organization is voluntary. We believe that science and knowledge of everything that exists does not distance us from a transcendent origin. We agree with this phrase attributed to Louis Pasteur.
A bit of science distances one from God, but much science nears one to him. As he claimed, Francis Bacon, a little philosophy tilts man's mind towards atheism, but depth in philosophy brings man's mind to belief.
Our aim is to contribute to clarifying that science does not deny the existence of a creator being. Some people think that science denies God, but this view is based more on beliefs than evidence. This is a disguised belief in science, a belief, moreover, often simplistic, but widespread, because it is promoted by a materialistic ideology that is distributed as science. From a young age, we are already taught at primary school, in high school, and in college. However, we have discovered that there is sufficient scientific evidence, many of them recent, that do not confirm the material origin of life, but that life was projected for a purpose. Do you want to find out more? Scientists and doctors from all over the world, in a public and documented manner, question that the origin of life is because of a simple physical and chemical changes without any planning.
We are skeptical
of claims for the ability of
random mutations
and natural selection
to account for the complexity of life.
A careful examination
of the evidence
for Darwinian theory
should be encouraged.
skeptical
of claims
For the ability
of random mutations
and natural selection
to account for
the complexity
the complexity
to account for the complexity of life.
careful examination
Examination
of the evidence
for Darwinian theory
should be encouraged.
There are currently more than 1,000 PhDs who have dared to publish their name without fear. Fear? During the second half of the last century, these public initiatives were not possible. Many were afraid. Evolutionism seemed an absolute truth. No one dared to question it. Center SNC cited, when it comes to evolution, persecution is a well-known fact of academic life. Supporting Darwinist evolution is a safe movement for the race, while that questioning it can easily mean the end of your career. But since the end of the 90s, this fear has been gradually disappearing. The list of scientists who have publicly expressed their support for these is growing. Currently, this includes scientists from the National Academies of Science in the US, Brazil, Russia, Hungary, and the Czech Republic, and universities such as Yale, Princeton, Stanford, MIT, UC, Berkeley, UCLA, Unicamp, and others. They are scientists. They claim that the Darwinist theory of evolution does not explain the complexity of living beings or the universe. This growing number of scientists confirms, based on new discoveries, that the current diversity of living species on Earth cannot be the product of an evolution, whether it is thousands or millions of years. It is not scientifically possible. In another video, we will explain the difference between variability and evolution. Variability is a fact, verifiable. The transformation of one species into another. It's an assumption that has not been and cannot be proved because it's supposed to occur only in an experimentable span of millions of years. These 1,000 scientists and many others also question natural selection, the fundamental Darwinist principle accepted in today's society, as an unquestionable truth. Even scientists such as Thomas Nagel, who considers himself an atheist, wrote in 2012.
I want to defend my reaction of this belief against the neo-Darwinist reductionist view of the origin and evolution of life. It is highly unlikely that life is the result of a sequence of physical accidents along with the natural selection mechanisms, and my skepticism is not based on religious belief.
We respect all ideas and do not want to offend those who, under the pretense of being based on objective science, believe that the existence of a creator is somewhat backward, outdated, and unscientific. We respect them for two reasons. One, because we see no ill intention in many of these people. Some of us had shared their ideas for a longer or shorter time in our lives. Two, in most, this belief does not come from a personal process of reflection, but is based on a confidence, perhaps excessive intellectuals of that stream of thought that, for being majority, has ended up prevailing in public opinion. These dogmas, dressed in science, are advertised through TV shows, media, advertising of large multinationals, fictional films, Mother Nature documentaries, evolutionary blogs, videos on the internet. Most of us are not scientists. Therefore, we do not express our own opinions here, because we understand that they are not relevant. For this reason, we don't advertise our own name either. We do not want to promote ourselves or seek any economic or personal promotion or end benefits. We are open to collaborate with you, all who share these principles. Do you want to collaborate with us? We want to promote this idea because we believe they are beneficial to the human being. It's the truth that brings peace to our minds. At the moment, we want to do it in the 11 languages that we know among us. If you are fluent in another language, you are welcome to collaborate with us. It is important to note that we do not share neither support writings or audiovisual materials that attempt to justify the creator by attacking individuals, using pejorative expressions, or using their personal opinions as if they are scientific arguments. Sometimes these are uncertain arguments that are detected in the promotion of some dogma or religious institution. Our mission is to communicate the conclusions of demonstrable science with current evidence. We quote scientific texts with exact references from the source of the documents from which they were extracted. If you detect any errors in our references, please let us know. We will do our best to correct it. When quoting articles or texts from scientists, we are not glorifying them in any way. A scientist is a human being, like us. Throughout history, scientists have made mistakes, and it will always be like this. There are several conclusions that sometimes doesn't have enough data to support its statement. But the real science advanced based on doubt. The real science is detecting errors, incomplete theories, hasty claims, in light of new evidence. Scientific knowledge has been progressing to this day. That's why we don't glorify scientists, but we accept evidence-based science, not ideas or personal opinions. We're interested to know if there is evidence that it exists, or if there is evidence that it doesn't exist. The creator of all things.
To be continued.